Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. I'm your host, the Deuster. It is raining outside today at Soggy Bottom with a temperature of 45 degrees, so I guess I'll be inside the house today, maybe doing another couple of videos, or maybe even working on another little project I need to work on and finish up. But today I want to tell you about the house that I live in and some of the paranormal activity that goes on inside it. First, a little background. House was built in 1945 by Pee Wee and Mamie Fentress, who made their home here. And they built it in 1945, and it was actually constructed from rough sawn sawmill lumber, more than likely from a local sawmill. Um, Pee Wee's father, Oscar, helped him build this house, and like I said, we bought it in 2001. Actually, we were supposed to close on it in September the 9th of 2001. But as you know, if you remember that date, that's the day that the World Trade Centers were hit, and they had closed all the banks, all the financial institutions, and we could not close until the next day. But anyway, the next day we closed on it, and there was a lot of work to be done on it. The house was recently remodeled by one of the local carpenters around here, but he just did a half-assed job on it. I'm still doing things, repairing things that he didn't do right. But anyway, we started remodeling, and we noticed some activity. I didn't have any kind of weird feelings in the house or anything like I normally do. But anyway, we started experiencing some little things. We started seeing this gray figure go across the hallway and into the bedroom, and we kind of passed it off. Didn't think much about it. But the more we remodeled and worked on the house, the more active they got. We seen her go across the hallway several times, and usually wearing a gray house coat, kind of like an old duster type. And we had seen her in the house quite a bit. Now the Pee Wee, the husband, I have never seen him inside the house. I'm not saying he's not in there. I've never seen him. He's usually outside, standing by a tree, or my old building out there that I use for a workshop. I see him standing out there. I do kind of catch a weird feeling every once in a while of being watched, and usually I'll look around and I'll see something, that remind me of him. So I know he's probably outside watching. I said Pee Wee died in my house in the year 2000. In fact, he died exactly where my recliner sat in the living room. He wasn't pronounced dead till they got him to the hospital, but they were doing CPR on him here in the house, and all the way to the hospital, which he never did gain consciousness. But anyway, like I said, Mamie died several years later at her daughter's house, which was next door to us up on top of the hill. But like I said, we started remodeling, and things got pretty active. First thing we did was we had a garage built onto the house. I didn't build onto the house; it's detached to the garage, and I wanted it attached to the house. But the people that built it, they couldn't guarantee by the different roof lines and all that it would not leak or anything, so they would not attempt to attach it to the house. So I had them build it 16 feet from my existing house. And then after they got the garage constructed, I built a 16 by 16 utility room with a bathroom and all in it, and connected it, it's connected to the house and to the garage, which gives me a straight walk through from my garage into the house. And then I said, then when I started doing the construction, that's when a lot of things started getting active. I was sending regular updates to my daughters, showing them, what I was getting done on the house and the little, the remodeling and modifications I was doing. So I went outside one day. I got my shutters. I had the siding on the front, the windows put in, and the shutters put on. I went outside to make a picture of the house to send to my daughters to show them my progress. And I come back inside and taking them off my camera where I could send an email. And I got to noticing something kind of funny in the window. And so I zoomed in on it, and sure enough, there, plain as day in this window, you can see this old gray-haired lady with glasses standing there. And she's standing at the window looking out at me. But the odd part is there's a little girl standing there, too. And she's wearing a little bonnet. She's got her head cocked kind of sideways, you know. And the lady has her hands on the little girl's shoulder. The only child I know that Pee Wee and Mamie had is still alive. She lives in Florida. And I don't know if this is just something else that is attached to the house or what. But the little girl is quite vocal. I've never heard Pee Wee say a word. I've never heard Mamie say a word. But this little girl, she's quite vocal. I heard her call. I was sitting at my computer one day and coming from where the utility room was at. I heard this voice say, "Mama." And so I just sat there and thought, well, there can't be anybody calling me. There's no way to come in. The garage door's closed. And that's before I fixed it to where you could actually come in through a man door. So anyway, I just sat there on my computer, doing what I was doing. And then it calls back again and says, "Mama," in that tone of voice, And I just instinctively said, "What do you want?" And I got an answer. So I went in and talked to my wife. She was in the other room. And I asked her, I said, "Did you say anything?" And she said, "No, I didn't say a word." So, well, somebody just called out for Mama, She says, "Well, it wasn't me." So I just kind of let it pass, kind of walk around and look, And so anyway, the little girl got even more vocal that evening. I had fell asleep watching TV on the couch in the living room, and wife woke me up and she says, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "No, honey, I was asleep. I didn't hear anything." She says, "You didn't hear that?" And I said, "No, I did not." I said, "What did you hear?" And she says, "This little girl's voice says, 'Can't you see us? We're alive. We're alive. Can't you see us?'" So anyway, that we've got a few little things like that going on. The another thing too on the TV. I don't know if it's Pee Wee or if it's Mamie or the little girl or whatever, but we can turn the TV off and walk out of the room and then give it a few minutes and the TV will pop back on by itself. The first time I noticed this was we were going to town one day, and we had three separate remotes. We had one for the satellite dish, we had one for the TV, and we had one for the sound system. And they were all separate remotes. None of them would interconnect with each other. So anyway, we're getting ready to go to town. So I turned off the TV, turned off the satellite system, and turned off the sound bar. And I walked toward the door. They all three popped back on at the same time. And how in the world is that possible? There's three different remotes, three separate push power buttons. So, but anyway, they all pop back on. So I go over and pick the remotes back up, turn them back off again, walk toward the door, fixing to go out the front door to go to town, and they pop back on, all three of them at the same time. And I thought, this is weird, So I thought, well, I'm going to try one more time, to see what happens, So this time I turned them off, kept the remotes in my hand, and walked toward the door and laid the remotes down on the sofa. And they popped back on again. So I just looked around the room. I said, "Tell you what, if y'all want to watch TV, just go ahead and watch it. But if you don't mind, when you're through watching, do you mind turning them off?" And we went out the door, locked the house up, and left. we came back probably a couple hours later, and the TV, the sound system, and the satellite system were all three turned off. So they did what they said they would do. But here lately, we've been having a lot where we'd turn the TV off in the living room, we go to bed, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes later, sometimes even longer than that, the TV will pop back on by itself. It's like somebody wants to watch TV, evidently. But there's a lot of, we hear voices every once in a while around here. So I'm not scared. I kind of have a relationship with them. I made a deal with them. Says, you stay in your part of the house and don't bother me. I'll stay in my part. I won't bother you. I won't ask you to leave as long as you're peaceful. But if you start acting up, then I'm gonna try my best to get rid of you. So anyway, so far it's been peaceful so far. The little girl, my granddaughters kind of friended her on separate occasions. First one was Lily, my granddaughter Lily. She called this little girl Inglos, called her ghost friend, and I don't know where she came up with that name, evidently. But anyway, I guess she outgrew it or whatever. I guess she remembers it, but she don't remember what all went on. But anything that happened in the house, strange noise or something fell or something like that, it was usually attributed to Inglos. And then when Celeste came along, she adopted a little ghost friend, little girl. She called her Cherry. And she was also attributed to several things. You get knocked off a table or a few little things like that. Nothing major, just little childish stuff, But anyway, Lily saw me and Lily were out there pitching. We were actually skipping rocks in the little creek beside the house here one day, and we'd run out of rocks. I'd used all the rocks I had piled up there, so we'd got them all skipped. I was showing her how to do it. And we went back, turned around and go back to the house. And as we turned around, something splashed in the water behind us. And I turned around, and I was expecting to see a little tree limb had fell off, maybe or a snake had fell out of the overhanging limbs, or something like that, And I said, "What was that, Lily?" And she said, "Oh, that was my ghost friend." Said she skipped a rock too. Said she's my friend. Then she pointed across the creek and says, "But that one over there is not my friend. She's mean." And I said, "What?" And she said, "You don't see her over there, Papa? Over by that tree? You don't see her?" And I said, "No, I don't." So I got her to describe her to me. The girl had she was dark skinned, had black eyes, and the best I could had pigtails, black hair and pigtails. And the best I could to get her to describe her was more or less like a little Native American girl or something, But we went on in the house, and I've always had this weird feeling around my fish pond down there by the creek that it is a Native American burial ground. We did have the septic system enlarged at one time and put a new system in the backyard. And the contractor cut a ditch up from my backyard, up side of the hill, and up by my dogwood tree, and then up on the hill. And they had to pump the water up on the hill to the new septic lines. And I noticed a few days later, I went out and made pictures of you kind of get the lay of the land in photos. It shows where the lines run, and that way if I ever had to dig them back up or something, I could usually go back to the photos and tell exactly where they were at. But anyway, I noticed several days later, I was looking at the pictures, and above the dogwood tree was this big smoky image above the tree, and I couldn't even make it out. So anyway, I sent it to a guy there that used to run a Ghost Hunters International. I sent a picture to him and got him to analyze it for me, and he did say it was what he considered a spirit energy pattern. And he says at the time of day it was out in broad daylight and all, and it was visible, that it had to be very powerful. Now, it wasn't there when I made the picture, or I would have noticed it. but it's pretty prominent in the picture. But it's just some of the little things that go on around here. Nothing major. So I have a deal with them. They don't really bother me. I don't bother them. We do have wife does collect these old Tiny Tears dolls and things like that. And there for a while, I was buying her, one, two, or three, or whatever, for Christmas each year, And but we have them in a display case in the living room. And I got up I heard this commotion going on in the living room. It sounded like a bunch of girls in the living room having a party. And so I walked in, got up, and I could hear them when I got up. And I thought, well, the TV is not on because I can't see the glare, from it. So it was dark in the living room, so I got up and walked in. As soon as I walked in the door between the bedroom and the living room, the sound, it went silent, And I walked in, looked around, couldn't find anything causing any noise, I looked over where the dolls were at, Just got this weird feeling. I said, okay, girls, just tone it down. I need to go back to sleep. I got to work tomorrow. And sure enough, it didn't do it anymore. It kind of quieted down. But there's several little things that go on around here. Now when I seen I was telling you about seeing the woman and the little girl in the window. As soon as I jumped up and run in there real quick. Of course, it was still under construction at the time, and I make sure I couldn't see anything, But I carried my K2 meter and a EMI meter with me, and I got no signal at all, and there was nobody in the room there, So it was kind of set me back for a little bit, but I thought it was kind of odd. But anyway, that's kind of the story of the home I call Soggy Bottom. Like I said, it was built in 1945. I love living here. It needs quite a bit of work done to it, but we're getting there as we go along, making a few improvements to it. But anyway, like I said, they're probably going to get active again when I start doing some more construction. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this little history of Soggy Bottom. And if you will, subscribe to my channel, like it, share it with your friends. And like I said, this is the Dooster with Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll catch you on the next video. Have a nice day.